Eric Schmidt with the New York Times. There's been some recent reporting that the U.S. military in Iraq and Syria, in order to accelerate the airstrikes, had pushed the authority to take strikes that might result in harm to civilians to the local commanders, General McFarlane and his subordinates, and that they've also been made willing to accept a higher risk to civilians with the logic that the fighters are now embedded in urban settings, and so you just have to go along with it. What's your understanding of what the situation is now, what the rules are that the U.S. military is operating under in these kind of situations?
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that very briefly from the Afghanistan experience. I personally believe that the more you can decentralize power and authority to well-educated, well-informed, well-trained commanders on the ground, the more likely it is that you're going to use military force in the smartest way possible. What was one of the things interesting in Afghanistan is when General Petraeus came in 2010, he got grilled on this question of are restrictions on the use of military force undermining force protection, and he get grilled on that in his confirmation hearing. So he said, I'll take a look at this, and we lay this out in the report, and he reviewed the tactical directives and how they were being implemented. He said, the directives are basically sound, but what's happening is that commanders down the chain of command are placing more restrictions and more approval processes, and what that's doing is it's eroding confidence at the tactical level on whether the right of self-defense is being compromised. So General Petraeus lifted those restrictions, did not allow people to place more restrictions than he was on the chain of command. And actually what you saw was not only did civilian casualties continue to decline, but U.S. force protection continued to improve. And so I think that's a very interesting lesson on this issue of how do you place restrictions and who does them. And it goes back to the data gathering and professional education pieces. The better we are at that, the more empowered we can have commanders to make the right decisions and seize upon those opportunities without placing unnecessary restrictions on them.